Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull when you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head and D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Tune in to the fish report.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live. My name is Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. Thanks for joining us. Got the whole crew back this week, back in our sound room. It's TK and Heavy D. We'll be talking to them a little bit later in the show. And out in Studio R, of course, it's Covey and Kearns. Always excited to hear what they have to say. And Ken, another fun night on FRL, talking boys and girls hoops.
Yes, we are, Craig. A lot of Shelby County League coverage tonight, Craig. We're going to start off in Studio R there with Kearns and Covey, talking some girls hoops, Craig. And then later on, we're going to have a big interview with the head coach of the Russia Raiders. He's in his third year, Craig. He's had a terrific first two seasons, 2.5 seasons, actually. He's got 2 Shelby County League championships already under his belt in just 2 complete seasons. And that's Spencer Cordonnier of the Russia Raiders. Got his Raiders playing very well again this year. They're sitting 5-1 in the Shelby County League, 7-4 overall, and really looking forward to talking to Coach Cordonnier here in a few minutes.
Yeah, we're actually looking forward to talking some GWalk basketball tonight and talking to Xenia junior star over there, Samari Curtis, but just got a text here, 10, 15 minutes ago that he's not going to be able to make it tonight.
Right, so you're right. Samari's a highly recruited 3-star athlete. Some of the guys seen him flying to the hoop this week. Very talented player to go with a lot of others in the GWalk right now.
Well, maybe we'll get to Samari some other time, but speaking of him and speaking of the GWalk, that happens to be the subject of tonight's poll question.
That's right. Which of these players is the most exciting player to watch in the GWalk right now? Is it Samari Curtis, Andre Gordon, Amari Davis from Trotwood, or Miles Bailu, also from Trotwood? And, of course, Samari Curtis is from Xenia and Andre Gordon from Sydney High School.
Yeah, those guys,
4 great athletes right there.
Down at Flying to the Hoop this weekend. We're going to talk more about that a little bit later. If you're on your the Fish Report Live page right now on your phones or your computers, you can scroll down, help us answer tonight's poll question, and check the results. If you happen to be watching us on NK Telco Cable TV, TK is going to have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started talking some girls basketball. And, you know, we're well past the halfway point right now. Going to go out to Studio R here in just a second. But before we do, let's get to those girls' standings right now, and let's see where we're at.
Well, Craig, some interesting standings right now as you look at them. Fort Laramie still at 7-0, Craig, in the league standings. Had a really close game again the other night against Anna where they escaped with just a 3-point victory. Russia just a game back here at 6-1 and Anna at 4-2. But like you said, Botkins, I said it a couple weeks ago, don't be surprised if Botkins plays spoiler here. And even the Jackson Center Tigers, 2 really good basketball teams right there, Craig, that I feel on any given night can knock off one of them top 3 teams. So, you know, a lot of basketball to be played. Fort Laramie right now in first place, but, you know, a long way to go, and they've got to play Russia again yet, so we'll see what happens. I know Coach Timmerman's got himself a big game tomorrow night, and we're going to hear about that here in just a little bit.
Yeah, Botkins and Jackson Center, a little deceiving hanging out there in 4th and 5th place. Not some teams you'd expect to upset, but as you said, they're always a dangerous team. And with that, let's go out to Studio R, check in with Covey and Kearns out there. And I know Covey got to call a big game last night, him and TK at that Russia Covington game. And Covey, that was a fun one. Ended a very exciting way, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Jenna Cordonnier hit a layup with around 7 seconds to go to give the Raiders a 2-point victory over the Covington Bucks in a rematch over last year's district finals. Junior Sammy Whiteman put on a display, having 23 points with 19 of those being in the second half. So I think Covington proved to me that they can get back to the districts this year and actually ultimately win it this year and get to the regional round. I was very impressed with Whiteman. But the Raiders put the clamps on and held them to 36 points around their season average and just kept continuing to produce.
Well, guys, speaking of that, the Russia Raiders and the rest of the SCAL, we just went through the standings. Want to talk about 3 big games on Thursday coming up in SCAL play, and Ken was talking about the Fort Laramie Redskins there just a little bit ago. They take on a Botkins team that maybe we expected to be a little bit better than what they are right now. I know Ken talked about them being a spoiler, maybe upsetting some teams, but what do you guys think? Are they capable of upsetting the Fort Laramie Redskins?
I don't think so. Laramie obviously the top team in the SCAL right now. I think Botkins is at times finding a little bit of they can't score as much. You got Lane, you got Bergman, and sometimes Tara Greavy comes in and scores. But they can't really find like a rhythm that would beat top teams like Laramie, Russia, and Anna per se. So I'm gonna have to pick the Redskins here in about a 20-point victory. So that's where I'm gonna go on this pick.
I can agree with the pick, but maybe the margin of victory is going to be a little more slim. I think Botkins obviously offensively have been struggling just looking at their record, and going against Laramie, especially how great they're coached by Coach Carly Siegel over there. She's always the product that she has is always great. But I think the way Botkins could start playing, and if they start seeing good things that they could maybe work on, I think it'll be a close game, but I can still see Laramie taking it.
Hey, guys, before we get to the Jackson Center Russia game, I want to touch base. First of all, a comment on that Botkins-Fort Laramie game. Fort Laramie, like I said, they've been winning. They haven't been winning by a bunch lately. I look for Botkins to give them a good game. The game is at Botkins. Like you said, Botkins has got the Bergman girl. She's a high scorer. And I think Botkins is going to give them a challenge. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think it's going to be an extremely close game and a tough battle for Coach Siegel. Before we get to the Russia Jackson coverage, let's talk a little bit about Houston at Anna. Here's an Anna team that almost knocked off Fort Laramie the other day. Houston team that beat Jackson Center a week or so ago. What's your thoughts on this game, guys, and how do you feel this one's shaking out?
Well, after the rough start that Houston had, they've won around 5 of their last 6 games after starting off a brutal 0-8. So they're going to give Anna a good test. They got the Monier sisters, Holly Boyshard at point guard. So, Anna can't take any game lightly. You can't take any game lightly in the Shelby County League. But I'm going to pick Anna here. I just think they're too big and too skilled on the inside over Houston. I think Houston's been real hot lately, but I think the talent's going to take over, and I'm going to take Anna by about 13 points.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think the way Houston has been playing now, I think they finally got the Monier girls really getting the offense surrounded by them inside and out. They're great offensively, and I think they finally found their rhythm offensively to get going, and I think I'll take Houston over Anna.
Yeah, Houston definitely has been playing better, guys. I know Russia beat them here the other night, but they definitely are playing better. Like you said, Kobe starting out 0-8 was a rough start for them, but playing better here as of late. And that big Jackson Center at Russia game, this is the game that Russia won rather easily the first time at the Habitat of the Cat. I think that score was 40-24, somewhere in that neighborhood there. But Olivia Clark coming off a big game, her last contest, I think she had 27 points. What do you think, guys? The Tigers capable of putting a scare maybe in the Raiders on Thursday?
Definitely. Like I said, you can't take a game lightly in the Shelby County League. Jackson, just like Botkins, at times has been struggling to score, but Olivia Clark can really take over in the post. Kennedy Reese is more of a defensive specialist, but Clark can score around 25 points if you need her to. But I don't think the supporting cast of Jackson Center is going to be able to help them. I'm going to take the Raiders by about 10 points just because of their well-disciplined defense, and I think they got one of the best coaches in the league in Andy Timmerman. So I'm going to take the Raiders here around 44-34.
I can agree with the Raider win here, but it definitely is the key for the Raiders to win to shut down Olivia Clark. I mean, she's always the main scorer for that team, and just like you said before, the supporting cast that Olivia Clark has is not strong offensively, and I think the Raiders have too many weapons to get a run out against them and win by maybe 10-15. So, yeah, I take the Raiders.
That's great coverage there, guys, on girls Shelby County League basketball, Craig. Those guys, they cover well, don't they?
They sure do. And then, like I said, Kobe and TK did a great job last night calling that Covington game. A lot of fun listening to the highlights there on Twitter last night. Kobe yelling with that Jenna Cordonnier layup with the assist from Larissa Pulling. Awful fun hearing that.
So I got to admit, I listened to the game. Kobe and TK, you guys did a great job, and it's just nice having that source to be able to listen to the Raiders on the go.
Hey, well, before we let you go, Kobe, we do want to mention one thing. Know you were down at Flying to the Hoop this past weekend, checking out some of those big games on Sunday, I believe, and you got a chance to meet a a coach that I know you admire very much. I think we got a picture of him, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I got to meet Coach Chris Mack on Sunday, the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers. I don't know if anybody doesn't know, but I'm a huge Xavier fan. My sister goes there. Ken is also a big Xavier fan, so we talk a lot of Xavier basketball, like to annoy Ross on the Xavier-Dayton rivalry. But he was down there to watch Andre Gordon. He was there to watch probably Justin, even though Justin's committed to Ohio State. He was also there to watch Covington Catholic 7-1 center Jake Walter, who's already committed to the Musketeers. I got to ask him for a picture, and I was actually at the Xavier Creighton game the day before, so I got to talk to him briefly on the Xavier Creighton game. But it was neat to meet him, and he's one of my coaching idols.
Well, Kobe, that's great stuff right there, and I got to agree with you. Just one of the top coaches across the country, and Chris Mack, he does a great job over there at Xavier. He's got himself a top 10 team again this year. Went to the Elite Eight last year, and Kobe, there's not many of us Xavier fans around here, so we got to stick together pretty tight, buddy.
Yes, we do.
Well, great stuff, guys. Thanks for that. And Ken, you know that flying to the hoop, and Rushi got a chance to participate in that a few years ago. Always a fun time down there. They really take care of the teams and the athletes, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's a lot of fun. It's a great experience for the athletes. It's great for the fans that make the trip down there to Trent Arena, and it's just a lot of fun. You know, you got teams coming in from all over the country, from Chicago, Las Vegas, Florida, Atlanta. And then what's been really neat lately, Craig, it actually started a couple years ago when Rushi played Tri-Village, but they started going to some of the small Division IV schools, and I remember that game very well. And it was a packed house, and it was a great basketball game between two undefeated teams at the time, and just a great atmosphere for Rushi and Tri-Village when they faced off 3 years ago. So I think the flying to the hoop, they liked it, and they've seen what Division IV basketball could bring as far as a fan support, and it's been very successful for them.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of that this year with the Franklin Monroe Minster game. Of course, Monroe's got the Conley kid that's getting looked at, I know, and Minster's got a 6'9" kid underneath the basket, Jared Schulte, that might get some looks in the years to come as well. So
right, and of course, then you had Fort Laramie taking on Thurgood Marshall, and I'm sure the Fort Laramie crowd way outweighed the Thurgood Marshall crowd there. But again, bringing Division IV small town basketball to flying to the hoop, it's great for the local kids, it's great for the fans, and it's great for the tournament atmosphere.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a short break, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some boys basketball, including that interview with Rushi coach Spencer Cordonnier.
My father said it's time to be home, man, but don't go and town in the motherland. You were born with heart, raised on pride. This vinegar runs through your bloodline. Oh, loaded, bruised, and slain. Oh, pride in this name. Well, the skies run deep within this blue. False devised by foolish views. Religious divide among the may create civil war on my family land. Oh, bloody, bruised, and slain. Oh, pride in this name.
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking some girls basketball, SCAL girls basketball. Now going to talk a little SCAL boys basketball, and Ken passed the halfway point on that as well. Let's take a look at those standings and see where we're at.
Yes, Craig. Fort Laramie Redskins, Craig, sitting at 6-0 in the league standings right now, 12-0 overall, Craig. The record's been unblemished. They got a really nice basketball team over there this year, as everyone knows. But not far behind them, Craig, is the Russia Raiders. Craig, Russia's at 5-1. Coach Cordonnier's got his team playing well this year, sitting at 7-4 overall. And then right behind them is the Anna Rockets. So they're at 4-1. Craig, just like we predicted before the season started, we thought it was going to be a 3-team race. It is a 3-team race, but that's taking nothing away from Jackson Center, Botkins, and Farallon, and even Houston. 4 other very good basketball teams right there. The Shelby County League is very strong this year.
Yeah, a lot of basketball to be played yet to decide that league race. And one guy that knows a little bit about winning league races is our next guest. He's the head coach of the Russia Raiders. We welcome to the show now Spencer Cordonnier. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Well, listen, I know it's been kind of a slow January from what we've been used to in years past. Just one game so far, way back on January 6th, and that's because last Friday's game against Houston was postponed on account of the weather. Do you feel like it's preseason all over again, where all you've been doing is practicing?
Well, yeah. I actually texted the guys the other day and said, change of plans. We normally knock practice down to an hour and a half, but since we haven't been able to practice much the last 2 weeks, we went back to 2 hours. I said, since we haven't had much practice time, we're going to go back to 2 hours since we haven't practiced in a month. So, we've gotten a chance to work on a couple different things. Offensively, we've struggled most of the year, and so we've gotten a chance to reevaluate things a little bit and work on some different things that we want to do now, and just to change things up a little bit and to see what happens. I mean, we haven't shot the ball very well, so a lot of the games around the area this year are in the 50s, some in the 40s. I think our first time against Jackson was both of us were in the 30s. So, we're working on changing some things up and trying to get more shots, more quality shots. So it's given us a chance to work on some things. So it hasn't all been bad.
Well, Coach, listen, we just went through the standings. You're sitting in second place, just that one loss right now in the league. You're obviously doing some things well. What's something you feel like the Raiders are doing well at this point of the season?
I've been very pleased defensively for most of the year. I mean, we've had a couple games that we didn't execute very well but for the most part defensively, and I didn't expect anything less out of these guys. They work extremely hard at the defensive end, and so we've executed game plans for the most part very, very well. When we played against Laramie, we were very happy with giving up 47, but they defended us very, very well, and shooting's been our nemesis all year, and we didn't shoot very well in that game. We mix it up. We play a little bit of zone, a little bit of man here and there, and we've put it together one time this year, a complete game, and that was against a very, very good Anna team, and we held them to 54, so or 56, whatever it was, but if we can get on a roll here the last month of the season, which I feel like we can. We've got a lot of good teams on the schedule yet, but I told the guys tonight, I really feel like, we've got 10 games left. I feel like we have a chance to win all 10, but we also have a chance, we could also lose those games as well. So, I mean, there's no cupcakes left out there. We're going to have to come to play every night, and if we can get on a roll, we can get some momentum going into a tournament, which is really, 4 or 5 weeks, 5 weeks away, I believe.
Coach, hi, this is Ken, and you mentioned offense a couple times here already tonight. Throughout the season, you've had, kind of a balanced scoring attack, whether it was Jack Daypor, Daniel Corns, or Jordan York leading you on the offensive end of the floor. Do you like it this way, or would you rather have that one go-to guy averaging 20-plus points a game that could get you a bucket at any time when you needed it?
No, I mean, it would be great to have the way we've spread the scoring around, just because, we don't have. I mean, everybody sticks their number one on Jack, but we don't have a guy that is going to average 20 a game, and you got to guard those three for sure, and if they share it, and you really can't, if you're going to double team, who are you going to double team? So I mean, I like the way that we are, just for the simple fact that who are you going to concentrate on? If you concentrate on one, then we've got two other guys that are capable of putting 15, 16, 18 up in a night, and any one of those three can do it. I'm not real sure we're capable of going off for 25 or 30, but any one of those three can get 12 to 18 a night, and if all three of them do it on the same night, then we're sitting pretty good.
Coach, let's talk about your big game Friday night. We entertained the Jackson Center Tigers. You and Coach Scott Elkert over there, very familiar with each other, obviously, and he always puts together a great game plan, as you will as well. The last several years, whenever we hook up with Jackson Center, throw out the records, it's going to be a battle. One of them games where every possession matters. What's your thoughts on this game, and how do you approach playing a team like that's prepared by Coach Elkert?
You know what? It really doesn't matter what his talent level is, or if he's got a senior-laden team or a very young team. Scott is, probably the best coach around. I know the best coach around this area. One of the top ones in the state every single year. I mean, his kids are very disciplined. They execute game plans to a T from what we've seen the last couple of years, and they just stick to their guns. They stick to what they're good at. They defend you very, very well. I mean, I'm standing on the sidelines about pulling my hair out, trying to figure out what to run. I mean, heck, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was, I looked down at my dad. I go, what do you want me to run? I go, I've gone through everything and nothing's working. So, I mean, he's just one of those guys that pays very, very much attention to every little detail, and his kids, respond to him very, very well. And, it's just tough year in and year out to try to get wins against a Scott Elkert team.
Coach,
and, this year's no different. They're very, very young, but, we played them early in the season. We've seen them last weekend against New Knoxville. They're really starting to come into their own. The younger guys have gotten all that experience, 10, 12 games possibly. So it's not going to be the same Jackson Center team that we played the first time around. And, we're going to have to come out and execute very, very well. I mean, when you play against his defense, you have to run. If you're running sets, you have to run them crisp, and you have to execute if you want to score.
Coach, hey, listen, I had you on the show last year. I know we talked, and I might have asked you the same question, but it's worth asking again. I want to ask about them rowdy Raiders you have sitting on both ends of those bleachers out there facing you during that game, and they're always loud, always proud, and what does that do for the energy of your team when you got kids screaming on both sides of that gymnasium?
Oh, you can tell a difference in the energy that the kids get playing at home versus playing away. They create a very, very exciting atmosphere. the high school kids are, they're always coming up with some gimmick and what to wear to games, and it's always pretty interesting. And then you got the little ones down there screaming their heads off, and it makes it very, very loud in there, and it's, more than one person, more than one coach has said it, and more than one team has felt it. It's tough. It's tough to come in there and play with just how loud those kids get. I mean, you got those little ones, those kindergartners through, whatever, 5th or 6th grade sitting down there, and they're just screaming as loud as can be. It makes it tough on our own kids to
hopefully,
go ahead.
No, hopefully they're good and loud for you Friday night. Isn't that right, Coach?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're going to need it every home game from here on out. So, it's, like I said, we got 10 games left, and we're looking forward to the challenge that we have ahead of us, and hopefully, we have a chance the last week of the season with, hopefully in the league standings.
Hey, Coach, got one more question before we let you go, and as if you weren't already busy enough, I know you got 4 kids at home. You got a wife that's very involved with Russia Athletics, being the AD at Russia. If all that isn't enough, I've noticed a couple weeks ago I was at one of your oldest son, your 5th grade. He's now playing ball in a league, and you're coaching that as well. So we all of us here in the Fisher Report crew have been there. But I gotta comment. Isn't that as enjoyable as it gets? No stress involved with that. Just get out there, coach, and have fun with your boy.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah, you're right. I enjoy that the most. I mean, I do a lot of it in the summer with baseball, with that class, and you're right. There isn't any pressure. I mean, we're playing on Sundays now, and we have practice tonight right after our varsity and JV practice, and it's fun to be able to take those guys and try to nurture them and just teach them everything and teach them how to play. Really, I mean, they've got a really good class, and we've been with them, since they were 6 years old. So this is our 6th year, and there's never a dull moment with them, and they're all good kids, and I just enjoy teaching them and seeing them grow. I mean, there's 13 of them that come out the last 2 years, and we've seen a lot of improvement in some of those kids, and mine and a couple of the other ones, they're in the gym all the time with myself and the JV coach Dave Borchers. His son's in that class, and then we've got one that used to coach girls basketball here in that class, and one of our junior high coaches has a son in that class. So outside of those 4 that are in the gym all the time, the other ones, to see them improve that don't get the opportunity to be in there as much as they do, is what's pretty neat.
Well, Coach, that's great stuff. Keep working hard with the program, high school program, the youth programs, and everything else. And thank you and your wife for everything you do for the Russia community.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, listen, good luck Friday night. Get yourself another big Shelby County League win, and we'll be there to cheer you on.
We're going to give it our best shot. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, now that was the head coach of the Russia Raiders, Spencer Cordonnier. You're awfully nice of him to fill in kind of last minute when we had a cancellation tonight. So, and speaking of which, I do want to apologize here. I know a couple weeks ago we had Wyatt Bensman on the show, and after you guys did the interview, I'm not sure if I made you aware of this, but got a phone call, a voicemail that I missed from a couple days previous, where I actually found out he was sick with the flu, coughing, could barely talk. He was talking about maybe not doing the interview as well, but he was a trooper, I guess, because you guys got him last week. I know I was absent, but you interviewed him. I noticed he coughed a few times during the interview, but sounded like he was awfully under the weather, but he was able to do the show.
Yeah, he did a great job. And Wyatt, if you're out there listening with us tonight, again, thanks for being on our show last week. Heard you were well under the weather, but appreciate you taking your time out.
All right, well, let's go back to that sound room, Ken. Check in with the guys here before we close things out tonight. And speaking of last week, I understand Heavy D was talking about mullets last week.
He was, and there's been a lot of talk this week about the Fort Loramie mullets, getting a lot of air coverage. Tyler Siegel, nice interview, did a very good job the other day with Fox News. And actually, Heavy D back here talked about it last week before anybody. Ain't that right, Heavy?
I think I broke the story. Although it's pretty obvious, but I think I did break the story, and it's just the whole internet's buzzing about the news over in.
Guys, Craig, I wonder, would it be possible to get a picture of Heavy D with the mullet back in the early '90s? I mean, wouldn't that be a classic?
There's a couple of them out there, and there's one of me. I tried to look for it tonight in my basketball uniform, and it's above mid-thigh on the shorts, a lot of thigh showing.
But that's all right.
It's not a good look, but I had the hair, so that made it better.
Well, maybe we'll just show the head.
I know TK was wearing, had the hair going back in the day as well.
Yeah, we need some mullet pics from them guys.
We got to travel a little further to find his pictures, though.
That's right.
But all right, guys, hang in there. We want to get to tonight's poll question before we close the show. And Ken, why don't you read it for our viewers again one more time?
Which one of these GWalk players has been the most exciting to watch this year? All four great athletes. Is it Samari Curtis from Xenia, Andre Gordon from Sydney, Amari Davis from Trotwood, or Miles Bailu from Trotwood? TK, what's our telemetrics saying back here?
Our telemetrics, they're favoring the local kid. 71% think Andre Gordon is your most exciting player to watch in the GWalk right now.
Well, he's a good player to watch, I can tell you that. Ain't that right?
He would have been my pick as well. So, all right, guys, thanks for that. And with that, we're going to close our show out. I do want to say special thanks to head coach of the Russia Raiders, Spencer Cordonnier, for joining us tonight. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond. For your latest news and high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole when you tune in to the fishing pond. Hanging at the